Apple Vision Pro. It's a computer
Yeah.
that you wear on your face.
Yeah,
It's a bold move, even for Apple, right?
it is.
This whole spatial computing thing, it's been in the works, hasn't it, for a while? This feels different, though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
What do you make of it?
Well, it's interesting, right? We're not just talking about strapping a screen to your face.
Yeah.
This is Apple's framing this as this is the next big leap
Right.
in how we're interacting with technology, right?
Exactly. Like we went from PCs to smartphones, yeah.
Right.
And now this is their next big bet, spatial computing.
Yeah.
Although I have to admit, the era of spatial computing line on their website,
Yeah.
I chuckled.
Of course.
Remember when smartphones were supposed to be revolutionary?
Every big tech leap, right, it faces that skepticism initially.
Totally.
So the question is Apple Vision Pro actually groundbreaking? Or is it hype?
Which is what we're here to uncover, right? We've got all this marketing material, we've got developer insights, all of it. Let's start with the hardware, though, shall we?
Okay.
Because Apple's claiming some pretty wild stuff here.
Yeah.
They're saying it's got more pixels than a 4K TV per eye.
Per eye.
How on earth?
Yeah.
How do they even fit all that in such a small space?
That's where the micro OLED displays come in.
Right.
Tiny but powerful. They cram in a massive amount of pixels for each eye. And it's not just about fitting them in. It's about creating that sense of presence.
Okay.
You're actually there in that virtual space.
And the cameras, right.
Yeah.
They're constantly scanning, they're tracking hand movements, they're even using LEDs and infrared for eye tracking.
Correct.
That's a lot going on.
A lot of data. A lot going on. But Apple's really stressing privacy here, though.
Right.
They're saying that the eye tracking data never leaves the device.
Interesting.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out in practice,
Yeah.
how they balance that functionality, which needs all that data, with privacy.
For sure, yeah. Okay, something else caught my eye in the materials. Okay.
The R1 chip, what's that all about?
Right.
Apparently, it's dedicated solely to processing all of that sensor data.
Yeah.
Why? What's the big deal about having a separate chip just for that?
That's all about a seamless experience.
Right.
A lag-free experience. So all those cameras, all those sensors, it's generating a ton of data.
Right.
That R1 chip processes it instantly.
Okay.
So what you see and hear in the headset reacts immediately to your movements,
Got it.
which is crucial for making that virtual world feel real and for avoiding any kind of motion sickness.
Okay. It makes it believable.
Exactly.
That makes sense. They're really going all in on trying to make this feel as real as possible. But what does this actually look like then in practice?
Right.
How does this change how we work or play or even just relax?
And that's where the software comes in. This isn't just about graphics, right? It's about a completely immersive experience. Imagine your surroundings transforming
Okay.
into this like calming mountaintop retreat
Yeah.
or this super collaborative workspace. Right.
That's the potential here of spatial computing.
Okay. I have to admit, that sounds kind of amazing.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work?
Yeah.
Let's switch gears a little bit, if we can, and dive into the software side of things a bit.
Okay.
visionos. Tell me about it.
visionos, think of it this way. It takes the Apple interface, the one you're familiar with,
Right.
and it reimagines it for this 3D world.
Okay.
You still got your Safari, you still got your messages.
Yeah.
But they're presented in a way that uses those spatial relationships.
So it's not just about things floating in front of you.
No, not at all. Think about it.
Yeah.
In the real world, we use spatial cues to organize ourselves, right?
Right.
The things we use the absolute most, they're within reach.
Yeah.
Similar items, they're grouped together. visionos is trying to do the same thing in the digital world.
Right. It's trying to mimic what we already do.
It is.
To make it intuitive.
Exactly.
I did read about this environments feature
Mm.
where you can work from like a virtual mountaintop retreat,
Yeah,
even if you're like sitting in your living room.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's more than just aesthetics, right? This spatial awareness, it changes how you multitask,
Okay.
how you collaborate. Imagine having multiple virtual screens
Right.
surrounding you, or pulling up a whiteboard that you and a colleague can both interact with,
Yeah.
even if you're miles apart.
Right. Okay, I have to admit, that's actually,
So cool, right?
that's really cool. But, I mean, does this new interface actually make us more productive, or does it just add another layer of distraction?
It's a good question.
Am I going to be too busy staring at virtual mountains to actually get any work done?
It's a valid concern.
Uh-huh.
I think any new technology has that potential, right?
Of course. Yeah.
For distraction.
Totally.
Think about when smartphones first came out.
Oh, please.
Right?
Yeah.
Took us a while to figure out how to integrate those.
Don't even get me started. Still haven't figured that one out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. We'll have to develop new habits for this,
Right.
for
Yeah.
interacting with technology in this way. But the potential is there
Sure.
to enhance our focus, enhance our creativity
Yeah.
in ways we probably haven't even imagined yet.
You mentioned collaboration earlier.
I did.
There was something else in the material that caught my eye.
Good.
Eyesight.
Right. Right.
So it's using that outward-facing display
Right.
to show your eyes to
Yeah.
other people when they approach you, even if you're in an app.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really clever because it addresses the awkwardness
Totally.
that a lot of people have about these headsets,
Yes.
right? That fear with VR and AR of being cut off,
Yes.
isolated.
100%. Nobody wants to be that person in the room
Right.
who's totally oblivious to their surroundings because they're lost in some virtual world.
Exactly.
So we've talked about Apple's vision.
We have.
What about beyond Apple, though? Are other developers as excited about this as Apple seems to be?
Yeah, it's interesting
What kind of apps are they even creating?
because this is brand new, right?
Yeah.
But there's a surprising range of apps that are being worked on. There's a developer, Stefan Van Dam.
Okay.
He's got some really interesting videos highlighting some of the stuff.
Like what? Give me an example. What are we talking
So there's Aurora Player,
Okay.
which is basically a media player,
Okay.
but it lets you watch anything. YouTube videos, streaming shows, your own content, all with spatial audio.
Oh, wow.
So very immersive.
So you're saying this basically turns your Apple Vision Pro into like a personal movie theater.
Exactly.
Right.
But even more immersive
Right.
than what we're used to.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Beyond just that, though, there's also apps that are focusing on productivity,
Okay.
organization. One that stood out was one called Date Today.
Okay.
It's a really simple idea,
Yeah.
but it's very elegantly done.
Mhm.
It keeps track of the time, your appointments, your calendar, and it's just there
Okay.
in your space,
Yeah.
always visible.
So you're not constantly having to like check your phone for the date or the time?
Check.
What else?
This last one's a bit more niche.
Okay.
It's called Hard Disk,
Okay.
and it visualizes your storage usage
Okay.
in a really cool way.
That sounds a little that one sounds a little boring to me, I've got to admit.
Right, but
Who gets excited about looking at their hard drive space?
think about it, though. This isn't just about,
Yes.
visualizing how much space you have left.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine complex data sets
Right.
laid out in 3D space.
Okay.
You could spot patterns, relationships
Right.
that you would never be able to see on a 2D screen.
Right.
So you're talking data analysis,
Okay.
scientific research,
Mhm.
financial modeling.
Got it. Okay. So these early apps, they're not just novelties.
Right.
They're showing us a shift, potentially, in how we use technology.
100%. And that's what makes this whole spatial computing thing so fascinating. It's not just about these individual apps. It's about this platform fundamentally changing
Right.
how we interact with information, how we interact with our environment, how we interact with each other.
So much potential.
So much.
But let's be real, this is very early days, yeah. This is Apple's first attempt at this.
It is.
It comes with a pretty hefty price tag.
It does.
Will this $3,500 device ever be anything more than a niche product for
Mm-mm.
early adopters and tech enthusiasts?
Yeah.
Or are we witnessing the early days of like a massive shift, like
Yeah.
the jump from clunky PCs to like sleek smartphones?
It's a big question.
Right, yeah.
Price is definitely a barrier right now.
For sure, yeah.
Remember when flat screen TVs first came out?
Oh, yeah.
Ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, they were.
Over time, as the technology gets better, production scales up, costs come down.
Right.
I'm not crazy to think the same could happen here.
Yeah. That's true, yeah. But it's not just about the price, though, is it? With this.
No.
This seems like such a huge change.
Right.
Are there bigger picture questions we should be asking about this whole thing?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about a level of immersion
Yeah.
that we haven't had before.
Right.
How do you prevent addiction to these
Because
experiences?
it's so engaging, yeah.
How do we make sure we're using this technology
Yeah.
and it's not using us?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got to set some boundaries, right?
Early,
Yeah.
early. And with all this data
Right. So much data.
that it's collecting about how we move, our physical movements,
Eye movements.
our eye movements.
It's a little, I have to admit, it's a little unnerving.
It is.
How do we ensure privacy
Right.
with all of that going on?
Big questions,
Yeah,
but important ones to ask, right?
absolutely. Yeah. Now, before we started, you were showing me something that I thought was really, really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Can you show the folks at home?
You want to see it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. So what I've got here is a demo unit
Okay.
of the Vision Pro.
Amazing.
And I've got it hooked up to a few different things so we
Yeah.
can really see what this thing can do.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's do it. I have to admit, that is pretty wild.
It's something else, right?
So Vision Pro, it's more than just a new gadget.
That is. It really is.
It feels bigger.
It's like a peek into the future
It does, doesn't it?
where the digital and the physical, they just blend
Yeah.
seamlessly, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine learning in a virtual classroom.
Okay.
That transports you to ancient Rome,
Right.
collaborating on designs
Yeah.
in a shared 3D space.
It's like it's exciting and a little bit daunting
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah, it's this future
Yeah.
full of potential,
Right.
but it requires us to think carefully about
Yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
know? Develop responsibly.
For sure.
Who knows what's next, right?
It does feel like anything's possible.
Maybe we'll be controlling things with our thoughts.
Yeah.
Teleporting virtually,
Why not?
the possibilities, they're kind of endless.
This has been incredible.
It's been fun, hasn't it?
This whole deep dive, I've learned so much.
Good, good.
Thank
The
you
pleasure's been all mine.
for walking us through all this.
Happy to do it.
And to everyone listening, what do you think? What do you think about all this?
Yeah,
About the future of spatial computing?
right.
What will you do with this new reality? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
We want to hear from you. We'll catch you in the next deep dive.